All right, everybody, it's 5 o'clock. So we'll start these bond hearings for Fulton County Superior Court. Before I just start this, does anybody here have something they want to tell me before we get started? Any lawyers, not you, not the inmates, the lawyers, anybody? We're not interrupted? Nope. Okay. The one from Ms. Sampson, it was dismissed, is Christopher Gilstrap. That charge was dismissed. So I don't know if somebody was going to handle that for her. She's already on here.
Yes, Your Honor, I was going to handle it, but she knew that it was dismissed.
Okay. And I sent your motion to Ms. Amjadi so she can look over it so we can handle that at some point in time. All right. Lieutenant, do you want me to start with Cobb?
Yes, ma'am, if you would, please.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Michael Riles. All right. Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Cazzoli, is position 2, pretrial 22 CP 208-259, Michael Riles, 153 days without indictment. There's a $10,000 good bond as of April the 14th, 2022. Got possession of marijuana, BGCSA, possession of controlled substance schedule 1 or 2 with intent to distribute, and willful obstruction. Trial.
In regards to Mr. Riles, 28 prior arrests total, couple of felony convictions, drugs in 2000, and then in 2017, found by a convicted felon, cocaine schedule 4 substance, and in 2019, possession of meth, 3 arrests for probation violation. Nothing further.
All right, sorry, you got 2 cases, 22 CP 208-346. VGCSA, possession of controlled substance schedule 1 or 2, crossing the guard lines of a correctional institute with a prohibited items, and crossing the guard lines of a correctional institute with prohibited substances. Go ahead, Mr. And that's got a $20,000 good bond as of April 18th. Go ahead, Mr. Cazzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you can tell from his most recent bond order, it's been a long time since bond was reconsidered for Mr. Riles. He went to DOC custody for a while, so I believe that new timer, the 153 days, is not quite up to date. It's a 3 months before that as well, Your Honor. So we are on, it's been a long time since bond has been lowered. He had his preliminary hearing a couple weeks ago, and due to time constraints on Judge Drake, we weren't able to deal with bond there, Your Honor. So we're asking for a big departure downward, Your Honor. He is 41 years old. He still has a good address listed on his pretrial report. He also has a letter of acceptance to the, I'm sorry, Your Honor, to the Recovery Foundations. I can provide that address as well. He's been accepted as a resident there. And he will be subjected to random drug screens, and I have that address. We would ask, Your Honor, that the court either grant a UJR to the program due to the long amount of time he's been in jail already in both of these matters, or a bond not to exceed $5,000 good between the 2 cases. So whether that's a $4,000, $1,000, $3,000, $2,000. He has been a lifelong Georgia resident. He lives in Nichols, Georgia. He has 4 children, ages 24, 15, 11, and 9, who all live in Nichols. He was previously working at Mobile Car Wash. He'd been doing that for 3 months before his arrest. Your Honor, we heard his history. Your Honor, so we are asking for those UJR to the program, or bond not to exceed $5,000 on both.
All right. Now, is this program in Fulton County? I know you got that.
It's in Lawrenceville, Your Honor.
Okay, Lawrenceville. Okay. What says the state?
Its criminal history, which is quite extensive. The state's position is that bond, as previously said, is fair and reasonable. I'd like to note that there were a number of substance abuse cases in his criminal history, as well as several violations of probation, which suggests that the defendant is not great at adhering to conditions of custodial alternatives. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Position 2, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay out of Fulton County. Let's hear for court. See your lawyer. Don't even get gas in Fulton County. You got that ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. You can leave home for a court, lawyer, medical, and if you go into the facility for treatment, you can obviously go there and follow any recommendations there. Stay away from 1985 Campbellton Road. This was 30.2 grams of marijuana, 1.8 grams of coke. So on the marijuana, 2,000. The VGCSA, we'll make it 2,000 on each count straight across, 2, 2, and 2, $6,000 good bond. And that ankle monitor will be paid for by the county. On count 3, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Same thing. That ankle monitor, 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical, and the rehab facility that he'd be going to. Stay out of Fulton County except for court. See your lawyer. Don't even get gas in Fulton County, sir. That ankle monitor will be paid for by the county. So right now we got, let's see, that was 14.79 grams of Schedule 1 or 2. So I'll make that 10. I'll leave count 2 at 1,000, count 3 at 1,000. So that's $12,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can lay the boot.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Let's see. Dedrick Lawless. Ms. Collins, there you go. It's position 10, pretrial. Ms. Collins here. Yeah, okay. All right, it's 2-1 CP 203645. Dedrick Lawless, 404 days without an indictment, aggravated assault, battery, substantial harm. There's an $80,000 good bond as of 7/14/2022. Pretrial.
Judge, in regards to Lawless, 10 prior arrests, open case 21 CR 002773E, battery, family violence, 1 arrest for conviction for misdemeanor FTA in 2018, took a first offender in 2018 on burglary and theft by receiving stolen property. Nothing further.
All right, Ms. Collins. You're on mute.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Before you is Mr. Lawless. He has turned 30 since he's been incarcerated. He's been in for over 400 days. He had a prelim on October 28th, and due to time constraints, we were not able to hear bond. So we're here today to hear bond on the matter. The last time he was considered for bond was back in July, where his bond was reduced to $80,000, and he is still unable to make that bond. Our change in circumstances is the lack of financial resources. He has been out of work for an entire year. He has not been able to obtain any income to put towards this bond. He does have family support, but they cannot afford to pay an $80,000 bond, Your Honor. Like I said, he's 30 years old. He turned 30 while incarcerated. He's a high school graduate. He graduated from Avondale High School. And prior to getting arrested, he was enrolled into Cab Tech, where he was working towards obtaining an HVAC certification. He has 2 minor children, a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. Before getting arrested, he was working at K&B as an electrician, K&B electrician as an installer. And he believes that that job is still waiting for him. If he were to get released, he has a good rapport with that company, Your Honor. He has a good address here in Georgia. He'll be living with his children's mother and his children in Decatur, in Lithonia. That's 2795 Evans Mills Road, Lithonia, Georgia, 30058. And I have spoken with her and confirmed that is a good address for him. Your Honor, we would be asking if you would consider reducing his bond to $25,000, 20 on count 1 and 5 on count 2. As far as criminal history goes, Your Honor, I believe that he has 1 misdemeanor conviction, and his only felony conviction he pled first offender to, and I believe that was sealed. So technically, he is not a convicted felon, Your Honor. He does have ties to Georgia. He has children here. He has a good address here. He was working here and going to school here. We understand there is that 1 FTA that was back in 2018. It's almost 4 years old, Your Honor. Don't think that he is a risk to intimidate any witnesses. He does have a different address from the incident location. I doubt there's any evidence he's attempted to contact this individual. We're here. It's been a year. This case is still unindicted. I have been looking into it. I have police reports where these officers were called out to this location before, and they had spoken to residents of the house who just confirmed that the statements that the complaining witness made were not supported. They didn't find any reason to arrest him. And here we are again with a similar situation. And he's been sitting for 400 days on this case and it hasn't been indicted. Your Honor, I am asking if you would consider reducing his bond to $25,000.
Ms. Amjadi?
I took a look at the defendant's cases in Tracker as well to see what he had open in DeKalb County, because I noticed in his criminal history that there were a number of family violence battery cases out of DeKalb County. I was not able to look up the name of the victim since I don't work in that jurisdiction. But the state's concern here is that we have the same victim in all of these domestic violence cases. Additionally, Your Honor, if the court would permit me to inquire of Ms. Collins, I just wanted to know what the name of the children's mother is in Lithonia.
Sure. Ms. Collins?
Thank you.
I can tell you her name. I don't know how that's relevant to this hearing.
I just want to see that it's not the same victim.
From the Lithonia case?
No, you said that he would be residing with somebody in Lithonia.
Yes, he can reside. He has two addresses. He can reside with his children's mother. That is Miss Destiny Ruger. And he also has a grandmother's address that he can reside at in Decatur.
I see. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the same victim, Ms. Collins.
I understand. I thought you were talking about the DeKalb case, and I was like,
With that in mind, Your Honor, that's the state's concern, that the defendant might present a risk of reoffending in a family violence scenario.
All right, and the victim in the misdemeanor case here in front of Judge Morrison is Amaya Malone. So it's a different alleged victim there too.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. What's your position?
Your
It's
Honor,
40
the state's position is
now.
I'm sorry?
It's 40,000 per count.
The state's position is that bond as set is fair and reasonable, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Holmes, so I'll be going off the former bond order. I know you probably know that already, but no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 1944 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or see your lawyer. Don't even get gas in Fulton County. You have a 24-hour curfew. You can leave for court appearances, attorney visits, or medical. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons and no drugs without a prescription, and no weapons. That ankle monitor is going to be paid for by the county. Let's see. So for Lithonia, since you live in Lithonia, and Ms. Collins, just make sure you put in that change of address into the clerk's office. So let's see. Since it's been so long, 404 days, I'll do 20,000 per count. So $40,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can lead a booth. All right, we got the other one in Cobb. Charles Flood. I know it's kind of, sir. Okay, I think it's the gentleman with the gray hair. Can you nod your head? Thank you, sir. All right, let's see. It's position 3 on the add-on pretrial. Got 22 CP 211472. Charles Flood, 95 days incarcerated without indictment, entering automobile.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Sorry. My add-on only had one person, and that was Jarvis Anderson.
That was a second add-on.
What's this guy's name? Flood?
Charles Flood. You want the booking number?
Yes, please.
2211986.
Okay, thank you.
And there's let's see. Because there's one more. There's one more too.
Okay.
And that booking number is 2212140. That's Vincenzo
2212.
140.
And who's the person?
Vincenzo Byers, Byers.
Thank you.
Okay. So you need a second to run this one?
Let me pull it up. Yes.
Okay. I'll go ahead. It's Charles Flood entering automobile and theft by taking misdemeanor as of August the 15th. There is a $7,500 good bond, and we'll wait on it for trial as soon as you're ready.
Okay, give me just a second. Go to Odyssey. Of course, it don't want to work. 2211986.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in regards to history, 1 arrest in Florida, 19 in Georgia, reported to being residentially challenged, 2 violations of probation, a couple of misdemeanors, 4 felonies ranging back to 99, been convicted of 3 burglaries, entering auto, and theft by receiving stolen property. Odyssey didn't come up, so I can't see if he have any open cases here. But I'll
Okay,
let you know.
it looks, it's the only one I saw in Odyssey, but it doesn't mean it's right. All right, go ahead, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Flood is 62 years old. He spent most of his life here in Georgia. He does have family that lives here. That includes his mom, his sister, his brother, and his nieces. I've been in contact with his nieces and his mom. He does need housing. We do have a good mailing address for him, but we are trying to secure housing. We have 2 different avenues we're working on right now, Your Honor. We have the social worker has already gone out and seen him and is trying to find him in a program. Another potential for housing is his niece's house. They just need to confirm some things before they officially give it to the court, but they are working on that. So we have 2 different potential housings moving for him. Your Honor, I would ask, he's been in custody 95 days without an indictment. I would ask if we could reduce the bond to $5,000 so we could apply for him the bail project once he secures housing. Thank you.
Does his niece, will it be a Fulton County address?
It is a Union City address, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. All right. Ms. Amjadi, is this you?
Good evening.
Or-
Your
Ms.
Honor, I
Porter.
believe this will be ADA Porter.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Porter.
Yes, Your Honor. 7,500 bond is a good bond, considering the defendant's theft-related convictions, including inter auto, which is one of the warrants before the court today. He has 2 parole violations. So there is some concern that this defendant will not adhere to the court's orders. It's the state's position that this is a bond that is fair and reasonable and should not be disturbed.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You need to supply an address within 24 hours of bonding out. Supply it to the clerk's office so that the state will know where you live, the address where you be living. No further contact with Christopher, Thell. Ms. Holmes is on the other bond order. Stay away from 692 Hortense, Hortense Place. You're going to have an ankle monitor. We'll make sure you come back, paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, and medical. Is he going to be, you going to get him in any sort of treatment, you think, counsel, or no?
I believe the social worker is trying to work on that. I know housing is his bigger issue from what I understand.
Okay, if there's anything else he needs, just come back and we can amend it. So court, lawyer, medical, that ankle monitor will be paid for by the county. $4,000 on count 1, $1,000 on count 2. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. All right, and we got, let's see, was there one more? Is Encino Byers here? All right, let's see. There was one more in Cobb, though, right? Cobb, you can leave the booth. Let's see. What's the other one in Cobb? McBride? Mr. McBride?
There should also be David Reynolds in Cobb.
Hold on a second. David Reynolds? Or McBride? Who are you up there in booth 3? Reynolds?
That's not Reynolds.
McBride?
Good evening, Your Honor.
Who's in booth 3, Deputy?
I don't have anybody in there. I'm gonna go get your last gentleman.
Oh, in Cobb booth 3, there is somebody in there.
I apologize, Your Honor. You do have McBride in booth 3.
Okay, McBride. Okay. All right. And you'll go get, who's Reynolds?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to get him now.
All right, Mr. Cho, we'll go with Mr. McBride. Position 15, pretrial. 21 CP 203220, Glenn McBride, 513 days without indictment, got obstruction of an animal control officer, public indecency, simple battery, certain acts on a bus, rail station, prohibited, simple battery. Right now, there is a $3,500 split bond per judge. Trial.
In regards to Mr. McBride, extensive arrest history, 73 prior arrests, at least 27 misdemeanor convictions, 5 arrests for probation violations, FTA in 06, felony obstruction in 2013, and then prior convictions for financial transaction card theft, 5 counts, FTA 2019. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cho.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before you is Mr. McBride. He does have a good address, 4949 Baker Ferry Road, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30336. Mr. McBride has been very patient, waiting for his day in court. And I believe we're at about 513 days as of today. While he has been in custody, he has been as productive as he can be. He is noted for having good behavior at the jail. He was previously a trustee at the jail, and he is in a dorm that rewards cooperation, good behavior. He has ties to the community, including his brother, who I believe I've spoken to previously on Mr. McBride's behalf. Your Honor, we are looking at an obstruction charge, a charge that I guess you could say is PI, if you abbreviate it by the first initials. And 2 counts of simple battery. I know it's not usual, but at this point, and I know the courts are trying to speed up, but at this point, 513 days, I think that Mr. McBride would deserve a UJR at this point. In lieu of that, if there's some commitment from the state to be able to rapidly and prioritize Mr. McBride's case, I know that they have the capability to do so. On occasion, they will call someone in the complaint room or wherever, I'm not sure how it works exactly, and generate a CP number or whatever needs to be done. But we're going to ask the court to consider defense's request. We will, of course, defer to the court's wisdom and judgment. But, Your Honor, I am being serious about the request, just for the court's knowledge, but we will defer, of course. Thank you.
The Bell Project does he not qualify for the Bell Project? Mr. Cho? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Mr. Cho.
Sorry, Judge, I need to check my archives.
Oh, okay. All right, check on that. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. 3,500 is a great bond, Your Honor, considering that there's 3 victims, 2 are law enforcement officers, and the defendant's extensive criminal history, including failures to appear and 5 probation violations. I've heard Counsel Cho's inquiry as to whether or not this case could be prioritized. I can make a note to the supervisor. I can't obviously make guarantees, but I can also elevate this as a priority to supervisor. But it's the state's position that the current bond is fair and reasonable and should not be disturbed.
Do you know where he's going to be living, Mr. Cho?
Yes, I have a good address. It is 4949 Baker Ferry Road, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30336. I confirmed that with Mr. McBride recently.
Okay. Did you see if did the Bell Project say he didn't qualify?
Judge, I don't have that, so I will do that as well.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, because here they put wraparound services before. All right, let's see. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from all MARTA stations, which you probably banned from them. I don't know if the 500 some odd days has been enough. This says pretrial or provide wraparound services as needed. That was through Judge Borski. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Dominique, Domonique Smith. Let's see. Pretrial, they gave some to you per judge. I mean, if it did, we all take the rest of them for him.
What are all his charges?
Obstruction of an animal control officer, public indecency, simple battery, certain acts on bus, rail station prohibited, and simple battery. 5 and 6, certain acts and one simple battery is already UJR pretrial level 2.
That simple battery can't be a UJR.
He's got 3 of them. They can't be? Okay. How about this? Everything else can be?
Yeah,
All right. So none of the simple batteries can be. Okay. So how about this? 1, UJR through pretrial level 2, because that's what Borski had done. Count 2, that can be, it's just the simple batteries. That's it, right?
no, it's any kind of battery.
Okay.
Can it be through the jail? And I apologize for interrupting.
Okay. Let's see. Count 2, UJR pretrial level 2. Count 3, 4. All right. So obviously 3, 4, and 6. I'll leave count 5 at UJR through pretrial level 2. How about?
Judge, are you
Yes.
splitting up the levels depending on the charge?
No, it's all level 2.
Oh, okay, I thought at the first one I heard you say level 1.
No, I'm sorry. They're all going to be level 2. Count 1, 2, 5, and 5. Count 6 is simple battery, so it can't be there. Mr. Cho, can he manage 1,000 or nothing?
Nothing, Your Honor.
All right, I'll do these UJR, those 2 UJR through the simple batteries, count 3, 4, and 6, UJR through the jail, the others through pretrial. You'll have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, and medical. Best of luck to you, sir. You got that, Miss Holmes, or did I just confuse everything?
I got it, Judge.
All right, 3, 4, and 6 are UJR jail, the others are UJR pretrial level 2. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Your Honor, I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, David Reynolds. You, Mr. Reynolds? Thank you, sir. All right, it's 16, pretrial 22 CP 21340. David Reynolds, 99 days without indictment, entering automobile with intent to commit a theft or a felony. As of August the 10th, there's a $5,000 good bond trial.
Which number, Judge?
16.
David Reynolds?
Yes, ma'am.
No prior arrests, but does have an open case probably booked in at the same time for a misdemeanor. 22 CR 00398-1Y. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Collins.
Your Honor, Mr. Reynolds is 31 years old, soon to be 32 on the 28th. He has been incarcerated for 99 days on the $5,000 bond. He cannot afford that bond. We have been unable to go through the bail project because its primary issue right now is that he is residentially challenged. Any type of housing he would need to rely on would be a shelter. We do have services here, but we typically focus on mental health clients and clients with a history of substance abuse, which Mr. Reynolds does not have. The issue is that he's just residentially challenged. And I think that may be the underlying reason for the cases that he has right now. But Your Honor, he does not have any children. He has a good mailing address, which is his parents' address in Roswell, Georgia. That's the address that he has on file. He was working, Your Honor, he was working at Captain D's as a cook prior to his arrest. He doesn't have any criminal history really other than the pending cases, which he does have the presumption of innocence on, of course, Your Honor. No history of FTAs, anything to show that he wouldn't show up to future court dates. And he does have a good mailing address, so he would be able to receive notice of his court dates, Your Honor. I am going to ask, and I don't mean to offend the court, given that we don't have an actual living address, I would ask if you would consider a UJR, just given the amount of time that he's been in without indictment, given that he has not been able to work to put any income towards this bond, and being that he doesn't have a history of FTAs, so that he may at least not have to sit here and wait for this case to be indicted. I don't know how high priority it is, but so that if he is released, he may be able to look into possible shelters that he can reside at while the case is pending, Your Honor.
What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. It's the state's position that the $5,000 bond currently designated for this defendant is fair and reasonable and should not be disturbed. The state is aware of the defendant's lack of criminal history and open misdemeanor matter. The state would ask for that. Stay away from all crystals, stay away from that named complainant, Violent Jones, and any other conditions that you deem appropriate.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 1055 Holcomb Bridge Road. No further contact with VOLANTE, last name Jones. Stay away from all Crystal restaurants. All right, you're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, work. Got to supply the name of your employer and a schedule and the exact location that you will be working. $2,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You lead the booth. I think that's it for Cobb. All right, let's see. Nextonia, oh, wait a minute. Go back to South Annex. Sorry. All right, let's see. Go back to South Annex. All right, Angela Plummer, South Annex. All right, Ms. Bray.
Yes.
Position 1, pretrial, it's 22210107, Angela Plummer, 146 days. There's a $25,000 good bond as of September the 1st. Unlawful for a person to purchase, possess, or have under control any controlled substances. This happened to be 3,740 milliliters of fentanyl, 33 milliliters of hydromorphone, and this looks like there's a accused theft of $15,190.42. Wow.
There's 2 prior arrests, no convictions, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Bray.
Yes, Your Honor, Miss Plummer is 49 years old. She has a stable address at 1955 Dales Ferry Road, apartment 4434 in Marietta, Georgia. She is a high school graduate. She also has her Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Valdosta State. She has worked for the last 28 years as a registered nurse, Your Honor. I am asking Your Honor to grant her a UJR to accountability court because she has been accepted. My office had referred her, and then later I was contacted by Megan Nix with the DA's office. They did a referral as well. Miss Gowdy went out to the jail last week and signed her up and everything. There is restitution, but Miss Plummer believes that that's not going to be a problem for her to pay once she gets out and gets stable with accountability court. So I'm asking for a UJR into accountability court only.
Did you send that order to the state already, or?
I believe Miss Gowdy did because she forwarded it to me today when I went in. I saw a copy of it.
I don't think I have one. Is this yours, Miss Amjadi?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
I did notice that there was a drug court referral pending, so I wasn't sure if the defense wanted to move forward with the hearing today. Ms. Bray, if you'd like to send the order to me, I'm happy to sign off on it, or we can just consent before the court right now.
We know how to do that? Okay, I didn't know how to do that, but my other person here, my other friend knows how to send that to you. So we'll send that to you so that you can sign that.
But
Thank you.
Where is she going to be working? Because I don't want her working at any pharmacies.
Well, at the time she was working for Emory Hospital in Midtown, so she won't be in that setting. She won't be in that setting, Your Honor.
All right, let's see. I mean, they obviously going to change this, but I want to, stay away from Crawford. Well, Emory Midtown. Sorry.
Right.
I'm old Atlanta. It's Crawford Long to me. 550 Peachtree Street Northeast, Crawford Long Hospital. But I don't want any further contact with SHAILLY, SHATT. I think that's whoever.
That was the doctor at the hospital that caught everything.
Yeah, that's
At
the
pharmacy.
doctor. Yeah, at the pharmacy.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little concerned with that much fentanyl. I mean, that could kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
An entire county.
Yeah.
Ms. Bray, has Ms. Plummer's license been suspended?
Our nursing license?
Yes.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't believe I ever even asked her that question.
I just checked. I probably should have myself.
Ms. Plummer, do you know if they've suspended your license, your nursing license?
I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it has to be.
Okay. If not, usually they do. You know, I had that one person I represented did it pretty quick.
Right. Okay.
All right, you want to send it to Ms. Amjadi? If y'all are good with it, I can sign it and get it back.
Okay, you know how to, okay. I don't know how to do it, but my friend here is gonna do it and we'll send it right now.
Okay, yeah, you sent it, Ms. Amjadi, too. Thank you. All right, ma'am.
All right.
You can. All right, Jada Wheeler. Mr. Houston on here?
Your Honor, I'll be covering for Mr. Houston.
All right. So this is 22 pretrial 22-211-326 Jada Monique Wheeler. Let's see. Oops, I didn't update this. 90. Let's see. 100 days without indictment. I got theft, shoplifting, felony, criminal trespass, $7,500 good bond as of August the 9th, 2022. Wow.
Judge, no convictions, have an open case, 21 CR 007422G, battery, substantial visible harm, 2 counts, criminal trespass. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Sorfarazi.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Wheeler is 24 years old. She's a high school grad. She's originally from New York, but she's lived in Georgia for about 8 years now. She does have family here in Georgia. That includes her mom and her sister. My understanding is that she is suffering from some mental health issues like PTSD, and that she's had some housing issues. And so we have had a social worker request has already been submitted. I'm not entirely sure the status of the social worker, if he's been out and interviewed her yet. But currently her bond is at $7,500. Your Honor, we're going to ask again to reduce to $5,000 so we can apply her for the bail project. She needs to have housing for the bail project anyway, so we would have to resolve her housing before we could move forward with them.
All right. Ms. Porter, Ms. Amjadi.
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant does have an open matter, so it would appear that the current bond is fair and reasonable considering the open matter. There's a risk of reoffending or committing new felonies pending trial. The state would just ask for the current conditions, stay away from Phipps Plaza and Saks Fifth Avenue, and any other conditions you deem appropriate.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 3340 Peachtree Road. That's Phipps Plaza and any Saks Fifth Avenue store. You have to supply an address where you'll be living within 24 hours or upon bonding out. You have to supply it to the clerk and to the state so they'll know where you're going to be living. Let's see. 3,000 on count 1, 2,000 on count 2. Let's see if there's anything else. Nope. But you know what? We want to make sure you come back. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and any sort of mental health treatment they get you into. Best of luck to you, ma'am. You can leave the booth.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. We got Jasmine Worthens. That's position 2. Bostic.
Yes, Your
22 CP 211475. 95 days without indictment. Jasmine Worthens. It's criminal damage to property, 2nd degree, and simple battery. As of August the 15th, there is a $10,000 good bond. Trial.
You said position 2?
Yeah, Jasmine Worthens. Was that on? That may have been on the add-on too. Was that on the add-on?
Yes, Your Honor. She's on the add-on.
That was the add-on. Sorry, Bostic. 2211987. 2211987.
How do you spell her last name?
Worthans.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, in regards to Jasmine Worthens. 8 prior arrests reported to being residentially challenged. She has a recent open case because she was just arrested July the 5th for a simple battery. She's on probation for simple battery, sentenced May of this year for 12 months. Also for simple battery, sentenced June of this year for 12 months, 51 days, and then for battery family violence. Another third case sentenced on the same day. Then another simple battery sentenced July of this year for 12 months. And she's on probation in Clayton for criminal damage to property. Sentence in 2021 for 3 years.
All right, 2 North, sit down. All right, go ahead, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Worthings is 28 years old. We have a mailing address for her, which is her dad's address. She is in need of housing. We already have a social worker has gone out and seen her. He's interviewed her and he's told me that he's right now in the process of trying to find her housing. It's one of the more difficult things when you're just looking for housing. He does believe, though, with the weather being colder, that we'll see more housing options open up in the future. Your Honor, Miss Worthings is spent her entire life here in Georgia. Her whole family is here, and that includes her dad, her mom, her brother, her grandma, and her aunt. She's a high school graduate that has had some college in tech school for cosmetology. Your Honor, her current bond is $10,000. We are asking if you could reduce it to $5,000 so we could submit to the bail project after we secure her housing.
What says the state? And it looks like the victim, I'm sorry, it looks like the victim may have been at the bond hearing because it says no further violent contact. Were you at first appearance?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm just trying to remember if the victim was there.
All right, go ahead. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor, $10,000 is a reasonable and fair bond considering this defendant does have, is on probation. I think 3 probations for simple battery, 1 probation for criminal damage, has an open simple battery. All these charges mirror the charges before the court, Your Honor. $10,000 bond is a reasonable bond. Considering the defendant's criminal history, and the state would ask for the continued conditions for to stay away from the incident location, as well as no further violent contact with Roshni Desai, and any other conditions that you deem appropriate.
Your Honor, I don't recall the victim being there. It seems like she was a manager at a motel, and Miss Worthings has no problem staying away from that hotel.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 3810 Campbellton Road Southwest. No further violent contact. So she must have been there. They wouldn't have said no further violent contact. ROSHNIDESAI. And that's on the bond conditions. Need to supply an address within 24 hours of getting out on bond. You got these other things. So we're going to put an ankle monitor on you with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical. We just listen to everything going on at Bostic's house. And let's see. Is there like a MH or does it just really get residents?
It seems like residence is our main concern here.
All right, court, lawyer, and medical. That 20 ankle monitor will be paid for by the county, but you must supply your address, ma'am. If you don't, that'll be a violation of your bond. Best of luck to you.
Wait, excuse me?
Best of luck to you.
Ms. Alvarez, can you call me? Sorry. All right, Your Honor. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm going to do 3 and 2. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, South Annex. All right. So I think that's it from there. So we got Dextonia Kendricks. Ms. Collins. Position 19, pretrial 22, CP 211358. There's 99 days out indictment, theft by shoplifting felony. August the 10th, there is a $5,000 good bond. Fraud.
In regards to Kendrick's total of 33 prior arrests, 20 in Alabama, 13 in Georgia. In Georgia, he has a theft by shoplifting 2015 and 2015, currently on probation for theft by taking, sentenced in 2019 for 5 years. In Alabama, prior conviction for theft of property. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Collins.
Your Honor, Mr. Kendricks, he is 47 years old. He's been incarcerated now for close to 100 days. He does have a $5,000 bond that he is not able to make. He has a good address in Brookhaven, Georgia, where he lives with his wife. That address is the address on file, 3160 Buford Highway. Before getting arrested, he was working at Patty and Frank's as a cook, and he does believe that he can get that job back. Your Honor, we actually did do the Bell Project, put in a Bell Project referral for Mr. Kendricks, and they did review him and they did accept him and were willing to pay his bond and did go down to Fulton County Jail to pay the bond. However, a hold popped up in Morrow County that prevented them from paying the bond. That hold has since then been lifted. However, the Bell Project would has already closed out his referral due to the hold. We're looking into right now whether it can be opened again, but at the moment that is still pending. Your Honor, I would ask if you would consider a UJR, just given the amount of time that he has been incarcerated. He has not been able to earn any income to put towards his bond. And so, Your Honor, he does have ties to the community. Most of his history is nonviolent. There are no witnesses for him to intimidate. He does not know these officers personally, nor does he know the store clerks personally. I believe a stay away has already been put in place. All of the items alleged to have taken, from my understanding, were returned as he was arrested at the location. And so, Your Honor, I would ask if you would consider a UJR for Mr. Kendricks today.
So he's going to be living on Buford Highway in Atlanta?
Yes, in Brookhaven, Your Honor.
In okay, that's DeKalb. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. The $5,000 current bond is fair and reasonable, considering the defendant is on probation for theft-related matter and has a criminal history with theft convictions. For that reason, the state believes that this bond should not be disturbed.
All right. Well, y'all have the option of revoking that 5-year probation. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 3393 Peachtree Road. That is Lenox Mall. Don't go to Lenox Mall. And don't go to any Victoria's Secret stores. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical. You can go for work as long as you supply the name of your employer, the location you'll be working, and a schedule. You have to supply that to the ankle monitor company and to your attorney who'll supply it to the state. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Don't even get gas in Fulton County. $3,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right, Joseph Hall. Mr. Hall, wave your hand for me, sir. Thank you, sir. That's position 20, pretrial 22 CP 206053. Joseph Hall, 100 days without indictment. Got a $2,500 split bond with some stuff going through pretrial, and terroristic threat shouldn't go through pretrial, should it? Bostic?
Misdemeanor.
Okay. All right. So we got criminal damage, second degree, public drunk, terroristic threats, and public indecency. Oh, pretrial came off of it. So he's already made bond on. Is the bailing project going to come off of this for the criminal damage to property? Ms. Fiacco, do you know?
Your Honor, I'm happy to speak to it. It is a situation where there is a split bond. Pretrial came off with the misdemeanor charges. The bail project has not reached out to me telling me they're coming off of the bond for the criminal damage to property. So we're today asking the court to consider, our motion is about the 3 misdemeanors.
All right, go ahead. Trial.
12 prior arrests total, 2 in Georgia, 8 in Georgia, 1 in another state. That only makes 11. Conviction 2015 misdemeanor weapon, 15 controlled substance, 2016 stolen property, 2017 controlled substance convictions. Nothing further.
All right. So was it just non-reporting? Bostic.
Your Honor.
Go ahead, Ms. Fiacco.
Yes, I can speak to that in my bond.
Okay.
Your Honor, Mr. Hall, he's been in jail now for 100 days. He doesn't have a bond on these 3 misdemeanor charges. He was given a $2,500 split bond. and the bail project posted the criminal damage to property in the second degree. He was supervised through pretrial on the 3 misdemeanors. He picked up a criminal trespass case through state court, wasn't read out by pretrial, I imagine because it's been handled. He has since served his sentence and it's no longer open. The criminal trespass in state court, it's not holding him in, it's just these 3 misdemeanors. Your Honor, we're asking for the court to reinstate the 3 misdemeanor UJRs through pretrial level 2. Mr. Hall, he's 30 years old. He lives in College Park. He has a good address there that I'm happy to provide to the court. He's a high school graduate and he does currently have a job waiting for him at Bar Vegan. And he doesn't know how much longer that job will wait for him, just given the length of time that he's been in. These are misdemeanor charges. He did not have the money to post the bond in January. His family couldn't post it. And so I'm asking the court to consider reinstating the UJR. With the reports of lice, scabies, malnourishment, and deaths at the Fulton County Jail, these misdemeanor charges are, I think the charges, the type of people that we should be releasing, given the overcrowdedness of the jail.
What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. I have confirmed that this defendant did take a plea on that open misdemeanor on September 6th of this year. The state does not impose reinstatement of UJR. I believe in a previous bond, it was a level 2. And any other conditions that you deem appropriate, such as that stay away from the incident location and the owner of that Chevron gas station, Muhammad Hussein.
Pretrial, what's the pretrial's position on taking him back?
Not because due to the fact he committed new offenses.
I'm just asking, Boston. I love your opinion, Boston.
I mean, that's just a general rule of process. The first thing they tell you is not commit any new offenses.
Well, I know. Thank you, Boston.
You're welcome.
No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 2195 Monroe Drive Northeast. No further contact with Mohammed Hussein, Hossain. Also stay away from 80 Jesse Hill Drive, Junior Drive, Grady Hospital, unless you're there for medical attention only. All right. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county, court, lawyer, work, supply the name of your employer, schedule where you'll be working, and medical. All right. All right. So count 1 stays as it is. So I'll do $250 on count 2, $500 on count 3, and $250 on count 4. Got that, Ms. Fiacco? 250, 500, and 250. Count 1. He's already made bond.
It'll be Mr. Hall, it'll be a $1,000 good bond, okay?
Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Your Honor, that concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Good to see you, Ms. Fiacco.
Thank you. It's good to see you as well.
Dayan Rhodes. All right. Position 7, pretrial Dayan Rhodes, 22 CP 210842. 119 days without indictment. There is a, let's see, looks like 1 count was dismissed. So we got criminal trespass, disorderly conduct. Looks like it is a 1. All right. I got a $1,000 good bond, cash only, on July 21st, 2022. Wow.
What's he charged with?
Criminal trespass, disorderly conduct. Cruelty was dismissed at a prelim.
Okay, he only has 2 prior arrests. Open case 22 CR 003735C, giving false name and driving without a valid license. Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Cazzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Rhodes is 20 years old. He is a lifelong Georgia resident. His whole family is in Georgia, but Mr. Rhodes is currently residentially challenged. He is a high school graduate. As Madam Pretrial mentioned, he has a very limited criminal history. And the current charges are very limited as well. However, Mr. Rhodes, due to his economic situation, is not able to pay a $1,000 cash bond. Your Honor, so we are asking for the bond to be lowered to a $1,000 good surety bond instead.
It says the state. Did you say no objection? I'm sorry.
I did, Your Honor. I apologize.
That's all right. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 150 Andrew Young Centennial Olympic Park. No further contact with Ariel, ARIEELLE, Tenny, TENNY. Let's see. And stay away from any other property owned by Georgia World Congress Center. I don't know why he made it cash, but we'll make each one of those a $500 good bond. Where's he? He had Lithonia. Where's he going to be living?
Your Honor, we don't have a permanent address yet. I'm working with my social worker to hopefully find something.
All right. You must supply an address where you'll be living within 24 hours, sir. If you don't supply that, that's a violation of your conditions of bond and you'll be arrested. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Thank you. All right. I got Ruben St. Hillier. There you go. That's position 13. 22 CP 207721, Ruben St. Hillier, 238 days without indictment. There is a $8,500 good bond as of May the 24th, 2022. Identity theft fraud when using, possessing, identifying concerning a person. Identity theft fraud when using or possessing, identifying info concerning a deceased individual, financial transaction, card fraud, and possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. Wow.
Judge. Extensive arrest history, 47 prior arrests, 13 convictions for misdemeanor, 12 arrests for probation violations, 5 FTAs, 04, 11, 14, 15, and 17. Open case 22 SC 181531, theft by shoplifting. Currently on probation for aggravated assault, theft by taking, theft by shoplifting, sentencing 21 for 3 years. Prior convictions for criminal damage to property, 3 convictions for battery, family violence, and prior conviction for criminal interference with government property. Nothing further.
All right. Ms. Bassett, I saw you take yourself off mute. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Your Honor. I owe Miss Bader a favor, so I'm covering for her this evening. Mr. St. Hilaire is 45 years old. He is from the Atlanta area, or he's actually been living in the Atlanta area for about 21 years. So I would say that this is his hometown at this point. He's been living at the same address with his girlfriend and her son for about the last 5 years. So he has a stable place to live that has been consistent. He has community ties. He has been working as a residential painter for about the last 5 years. My understanding is that he has been in custody at this point for 238 days without an indictment. There has already been a preliminary hearing in this case. I believe that occurred on August 31st of this year. And he has not had a bond hearing since May 24th of this year. The bond is currently set at $8,500. He is unable to make that. He will not be able to make that. It's my understanding that he has expressed some serious concerns about threats that he has received in the jail. With the news lately about everything that's been happening, the violence in the jail, as Ms. Fiacco noted, the lice, I understand that there are staffing issues. There's only so much that we can do. I think that the point is to try to get as many people out as possible, particularly non-violent offenders or with people with non-violent charges. I understand that he has some history, but what I'm seeing here are non-violent charges. And so I would ask the court to consider a significant reduction. I would ask that the bond not exceed $2,000 good.
All right, looks like there was 201 grams, I think, of marijuana. What says the state?
Is on the list of APD repeat offenders. He, in addition to having the drug offense, he does have some property crimes that do have a serious financial impact on members of the community. For that reason, the state's position is that bond as previously set is fair and reasonable at the $8,500 good bond.
All right, let's see. So we got 238 days. All right. So we got no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're gonna have stay away from 2469 Piedmont Road in Atlanta, Georgia. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for medical court appearances and to see your lawyer. Let's see. I said no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Let's see. The ankle monitor will be paid for by the county. No further contact with Antonio, last name Dallessandro. No further contact with Jonathan Stanford. No further contact with Hakeem Lima, Lemma. No further contact with the estate or anyone that knows the estate of the decedent, Mary Ransom, Ransom. Ms. Holmes, those names are also on the previous bond order. The estate of Mary Ransom. All right, let's see. Count 1, 500. Count 2, 1,000. Count 3, 1,000. Count 4, 3,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can lead the booth.
And Your Honor, that would conclude my business with the court this evening. May I please be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Good to see you. Have a good evening. Mr. St. Helier, you can lead the booth. All right. Did Vincenio Byers get in the booth? Mr. Byers, there we go. All right. The attorney here for Mr. Okay, there's Ms. Cole. All right. As position 1 on the add-on pretrial. You need his book. That's the booking number I gave you. Need it again?
No.
All right. 22 CP 211523 Vincenzo Mikael Byers. 92 days without indictment, no bond as of August the 17th. Possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. Possession of drug-related objects, terroristic threats, unlawful for a person employed by, associated with criminal street gang, or conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity. Then unlawful for to commit the offense with the intent to obtain, earn, maintain membership, increase status or position in a street gang. Wow.
Judge, in regards to Byers, multi-state offender. I wrote Georgia twice. Total of 32 prior arrests across 3 states. Prior convictions, 2017 in Georgia for theft by receiving stolen property and firearm by a convicted felon. Fugitive from justice arrest in Georgia, I think, to go back to South Carolina and the FTA in 2017. And South Carolina, conviction for fraud by wire in 2016 and 1 arrest for probation violation. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Cole.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Byers has been incarcerated for 92 days with no indictment and no bond. He is 34 years old. He does have a stable address. That address is 455 Fulton Street in Atlanta. He's been there for about 18 months and he currently lives there with his wife and his 12-year-old son. I have verified that address with his wife as well. He has 5 children total between 8 and 16. One of them lives with him and the other ones he visits every single week and provides for financially. He owns his own business. He started an LLC. It's People's Choice Detailing, and he does pressure washing and landscaping, and also has contracts with different dealerships in the area. He has been, trying to maintain that business as much as possible in order to continue to pay his rent and support his children while he's been incarcerated. But it's obviously difficult to run a business while incarcerated. And so he's not been able to make the income from that he has had in the past. He also volunteers with Jose Feed for the Homeless every few months. He has his GED. He is not currently on probation or parole or any other open cases to my knowledge. The failure to appear, Your Honor, my client was actually in federal holding from 2014 to 2020 with very limited release times. We're working on getting confirmation of all the times that he was incarcerated. But the failure to appears that are showing up on our record for him, or in mine at least, were times and dates that he said that he was incarcerated and can tell me where. We just haven't been able to get the documentation from the jails yet. Your Honor, the complaining witness does not live here in Georgia. They live here in Texas. My client has never personally been in contact with the complaining witness, has never met them in person. All of this occurred over their 2 competing YouTube channels. They have the followings on YouTube and post videos and music. And there's phone calls that were recorded on YouTube, and that's where all of these charges arose from. Your Honor, we're asking for bond on this case to be set. He is legally entitled to a bond. We're asking for the possession of marijuana charge for $5,000, possession and use of drug-related objects, $1,000, terroristic threats, $5,000, and then on counts 4 and 5, we're asking for $10,000 each for a total of $31,000. My client's willing to follow any conditions the court sees fit, including ankle monitor, staying off his YouTube channel, or anything else that the court requires.
All right, 88, okay, 88 Michelle, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'd ask, as Mr. Byers has been in for longer than 90 days, we ask that Your Honor consider a bond of $20,000 on the possession of marijuana, $20,000 on the possession and use of drug-related objects, and then $100,000 on the terroristic threats, $100,000 on the gang 1615-4A charge, and then $100,000 on the 1615-4B. The defendant's failure to appears do indicate that he is at a flight risk. I do see a failure to appear all the way from 2013. He does have multiple arrests from evading or charges for evading arrest, including one from 2019 in Texas. As a multi-state offender and not having contacts in the state of Georgia, we ask that Your Honor find that he is a risk of flight. In addition to his failure to appears, with a 36 cycles, we ask that you also find that he is at a risk to the community and at a risk to reoffend. While the defendant has never met the victim in person, the incidents itself and the terroristic threats themselves do spur from an incident that had occurred with the defendant's associates, specifically members of the Fruittown Piru Bloods, and specifically being involved with DeAndre Cortez Way and Ira Malcolm. Mr. Way is commonly known as Soulja Boy. This was a ongoing incident, or there was a incident where the victim had encountered the defendant's associates, and that's how these threats had come about. So we ask that Your Honor also have no social media, no contact with the individuals I listed. I can list them in the chat for the court, and to have no use of social media and a stay away from Fulton County.
All right, so he says he lives on Fulton Street. Has he got anywhere else to live, Ms. Cole?
Your Honor, that's his residence with his wife and his child. He's been there for 18 months. Again, none of the complaining witnesses live here in Georgia whatsoever. And I understand what the state is saying. However, one failure to appear from 2013 doesn't warrant a bond that high when the other ones were during the period of his incarceration. Your Honor, he doesn't have any recent felony convictions, not super recent, especially here in Georgia. And Your Honor, I know you're not looking at the warrants, and I know this is not an evidentiary hearing, but the warrants are.
I'm looking at the warrants.
Okay.
I'm looking at everything beforehand.
Okay, I apologize, Your Honor.
That's okay.
I just mean they say a lot about interactions between people, but don't really give any factual basis. My client has met Soulja Boy one time at a video shoot for one of Soulja Boy's, Mr. DeCorte, I think his last name is Way, at one photo shoot, and that's what all of this is based on. The allegations are severe considering what happened, and the bond that the state is requesting it's restrictive. My client cannot afford that bond. He's been incarcerated for 90 days. And if this was such a serious case, the state should move forward with an indictment, but they haven't, and it's been over 90 days. He's had no bond. He can't run his business. He can't provide for his family. He has 5 children. He's willing to follow whatever conditions the court sees fit, but his home is here in Georgia. None of the complaining witnesses live here. He doesn't have physical contact with any of them and hasn't met the complaining witness. Has one contact with the man alleged to be in concert. There's nothing in the warrants about his gang involvement or anything implicating him in any type of gang involvement. Nothing whatsoever in the warrants. stating that he had gang activity. They state that those people are known or believed to be members of a gang and that he knows who they are, essentially. And that's it. That's what the entire case seems to be based on. Including, Your Honor, the YouTube videos that they're referring to. My client is the one who was threatened with a gun over and over and over again. My client threatened to slap.
This
And that's
says, it says that Mr. Byers stood in front of 500 McDaniel Street located in the city of Atlanta in South Fulton County, which is the leasing office where he lives. And he went online, threatening Mr. White again and stated he better bring guns when he comes to the city of Atlanta.
Your Honor, I've watched the videos on YouTube, and
I'm just repeating what's in the warrant. Yeah. All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. You can leave for court or to see your lawyer. No further contact with Charleston White. Stay away from 500 McDaniel Street. Stay away from Lenox Mall. Stay away from Magic City. Can't go to any of those. No further contact your co-defendant, Ira Malcolm, or co-defendant DeAndre Cortez Way. No further contact with anybody who's a member or affiliated with Fruit Town Piru, Piru Bloods. No social media. And no replicas of weapons, no contact with any other gang members or known gang members of any other alleged gang group. Count 1, 5,000, count 2, 1,000, count 3, 50,000, count 4, 100,000, count 5, 100,000, 5,000, 1,000, 50,000, 100,000, 100,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right. Is that all for you, Ms. Patel? Do you have another one?
That's it, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. What about you, Ms. Cole?
I have 2 others, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. All right, let's see. What about Bruce Sanders? All right, Mr. Sanders, got you right there. This position 14, pretrial 22 CP 210370. Bruce Sanders, 103 days without indictment, forgery in the first degree. Looks like pretrial came off the bond on July the 4th. Trial.
8 prior arrests, couple of misdemeanors, conviction for terroristic threats, 2021 probation violation, FTA in 2022, nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Correa.
That's going to be me, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cazzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sanders is 37 years old. He, as mentioned, Your Honor, he was arrested on misdemeanors and pretrial came off, and now he's been held 103 days with no bond. We are asking for some kind of bond to be instated, a nominal bond. I know that Ms. Correa has reached out to Mr. Sanders' brothers, and they are trying to get him into rehab. They are watching via YouTube right now. Your Honor, so we are asking for a bond. He is a high school graduate from Frederick Douglass High School in 2004, has an associate's degree in computer animation, and another degree in Atlanta at the Atlanta Art Institute from 2006, and he'd been previously working as a security guard. He is also a Marine Corps veteran, Your Honor, a combat veteran from 2007 to 2011. And was on tour in Afghanistan. He has a 1-year-old daughter as well, Your Honor. We are asking for bond not to exceed $1,000.
All right. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. This defendant does have a recent probation violation from last year and a failure to appear of this year. So he has some risk of failing to appear to court when required and just responding to the court's orders. Your Honor, the state believes that the bond should not be no less than $2,500, considering his recent history and with the failures to appear and probation violation and any other conditions that you deem appropriate.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Mr. Cazzoli, does he live in Jonesboro still?
Mr. Sanders, can you raise your thumb, sir, thumbs up if you're still living in Jonesboro, if that's where your permanent address is going to be? Okay. Thank you.
Gotcha. Stay away from all CVS pharmacies and all CVS stores. Stay away from 2907 Main Street in East Point. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court. See your lawyer. Don't even get gas in Fulton County. You got an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew court, local employment. Just supply the name of your employer, where you're working, who you're working with, and a schedule.
Your Honor, could we get an exception if he is accepted into a program within the Fulton County borders that he's permitted to go there as well?
Is that a rehab or mental health?
It's rehab, Your Honor.
All right. And if he gets accepted to a rehab facility in Fulton County. All right.
Yeah.
So let's see. It was pretrial wraparound services. Let's see. All right. $2,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Jarius Anderson. Anderson. There you go. Got you right there. 2 South. All right. Let's see. Position is position 11 and it's an add-on for position 1. You need that booking number pretrial.
Anderson?
Yeah, for the add-on.
I got that one. That's the only one I did have.
Okay. All right. All right. At position 11, 22 CP 210976. Jarius Jamon Anderson, 113 days. No bond on possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. No bond was set on July 27th. Let's see, what's that? 56.1 grams of marijuana on that. On position 1 on the add-on, 22 CP 209755. Jarius Anderson, 125 days. When pretrial came off of this, so there's bonds already on count 1 and count 2. We're looking at possession of drug-related objects and pedestrian in roadway. Wow.
Judge, in regards to Mr. Anderson, 12 prior arrests total. 76. Prior conviction for aggravated assault, aggravated battery, firearm during firearm buying 2014, possession of cocaine conviction in 2015, cocaine in 2017, and obstruction 2 counts, cocaine in 2017 and crossing the guard line. Has a third open case, 22 CP 210535. Purchase, possession, manufacturing of drugs, distribution, sale of marijuana.
All
Nothing
right.
further.
Ms. Collins.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Anderson, he has been incarcerated for 113 days now in no bond status. His case is unindicted, so he is entitled to a bond at this point. And so, Your Honor, we would ask if you would consider setting a reasonable bond. He is 43 years old. He has a GED. He has 3 children. 2 of them are adults. He does have a minor child whom he cares for. Prior to his arrest, he was working at in a warehouse as a forklift operator. He had that job for a year. He's lived in Georgia his entire life, Your Honor. He does have a good address, which is the address that is currently on file. As stated, Your Honor, he is entitled to a bond at this point. He does have 3 open cases that are still unresolved. We're hoping that maybe we can look into resolving this through accountability court. He does meet the qualification, the criteria for their drug court program, and that's something that we are actively looking into. But in the meantime, Your Honor, we would just ask for a bond to be set on this case. For position, well, the one that's not on the add-on calendar, I don't know the specific number, the possession of marijuana charge, Your Honor. It is a nonviolent, a victimless charge. It's 56 grams of marijuana, Your Honor. We'd ask if you'd consider a bond to not exceed $3,000. The add-on case, he was out on bond on that case, pretrial surrendered those UJRs when this case got picked up. Your Honor, we'd ask if you would consider a $500 bond on each of those charges for a total bond of $4,000.
All right. What says the state? Ms. Amjadi?
Just make a quick point. I understand the defense's position that possession of marijuana with intent to distribute is a victimless crime, but that is not the case. Even though people think that there's just the crime of possession that's implicated, people commit crimes while under the influence of drugs that typically impact other persons and property, in addition to the crimes that they commit in order to obtain money to buy drugs. Your Honor, I do have a note with respect to position 11 that this case was just accepted into the drug court pre-indictment program or pre-indictment track. And there is a note not to indict the case for that reason.
Okay.
Procedurally, I'm not totally sure how we proceed. Typically, I
guess
would-
you gotta give me an order on that. I can set a bond, but you can get me an order on it and that will release him from the bond. Right, Ms. Collins?
We'd like a bond to be set. We still need to look into some matters, but I do believe that we probably will resolve this with accountability court. It's just that we just found out today, and there are some things that I need to look into prior before we send over the agreement form.
Right,
But-
that's what I'm saying. But you want
but if so-
to set a bond and then give me an order if he gets into the accountability court, right?
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Johnny.
Your Honor, I'd ask that it be no lower than $10,000. And then if there's a consent agreement, could it please go through the deputy over accountability courts, Ms. Collins?
Yeah, that's typically how we do it. If we get the agreement form in, then accountability court will work out a bond order if needed.
Okay, great.
All right. So on the add-on, which is position 1, where I just got to do the 2 of them pretrial. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 367 Greenwood Avenue. And let's see. Possession of drug-related objects, 750. Pedestrian in roadway, 250. I guess use a crosswalk. I don't know. All right. So position 11 on the calendar, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 170 Auburn Avenue. I'm making this $5,000. And the reason I am is because the first event with 29.1 grams of weed was allegedly June the 10th, 2022, out, and on 7/26/2022, he gets arrested with allegedly 56.1 grams of marijuana. So count the 1, will like count position 11, $5,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Pedro Alvarez, position 9. Mr. Alvarez? All right. 21 CP 197352. Pedro J. Alvarez, 648 days without indictment. No bond as of 11/19/2021. Possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission of a felony, aggravated assault with intent to rob, and armed robbery. Trial.
In regards to Mr. Pedro Alvarez, 11 prior arrests total, 2 other open case, 22 SC 182617, meth with the intent firearm during bulletproof vest, drug-related objects obstruction, assigned to Judge Lethbridge. 22 SC 182651, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, cruelty in the third, 2 counts, assigned to Judge Lethbridge. Victim in that case is Alessandra Bell. Convictions: 2011 burglary, 2013 purchase, possession, manufacturing, sale of marijuana, possession of cocaine. 2018 Schedule 2 substance, 3 FTAs. 2011, 18, and 21, 2 arrests for probation violation. Nothing further.
All right, I got this, Mr. Cho, that the incident date was February the 5th, 2021. Alleged Glock, 29 pills of MDMA, 27.38 grams of more than MDA, solid mass, and 314.26 grams of marijuana in that ballistic vest. Go ahead, Mr. Cho.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before you is Mr. Alvarez. As Officer Bostic has stated, there are 2 open cases with Judge Lethbridge. On the case before Your Honor, the unindicted case, I believe there's a $75,000 bond as of now. Prelim was held on October 24th. So the case is ripe for moving forward. We would ask the court to consider a reduction of the bond, if at all possible. We are asking the court to consider a total of $24,000. I would suggest 8, 8, and 8, but I will defer to court. He does have a good address, Mr. Alvarez, at 2640 MLK Drive. I have the department number I can put in the chat. That's 30311 zip code. Your Honor, while Mr. Alvarez has been in custody, he has been diligent and doing the best he can with the amount of time that he has, but the limited control over his own actions. Judge, he has been participating in numerous programs at the jail. He has multiple letters of recommendation for multiple people who are program managers at the jail. Captain Wright at the jail has reached out to me multiple times on Mr. Alvarez's behalf. Just to give a gist to one of the letters of recommendation specifically from Captain Wright is that Mr. Alvarez has been a member of the program at the jail since August 17, 2021. He has a willingness to commit to the principles of the program and accept whatever psychological or other help that he would need. He's against alcohol and drugs, and he's making change to turn around from non-productive behaviors and to think ahead. I think one of the main emphasis of the program is to think before acting and understanding and gaming out the consequences ahead of time. He has earned confidence and trust between him and the program directors and the people who are working with him at the jail. And Mr. Alvarez, Your Honor, has become serious about his future and knows that he can change from his past. That's the gist of one of the letters from Captain Wright. There are two other much more extensive letters as well for the court. He has been in 647 days in jail. He's mandated to Georgia Works previously by Judge Borski. Obviously, there's two open indicted cases with Judge Leffridge as of right now. He will accept an ankle monitor as a condition if necessary, but Your Honor, at this point, we would ask for a reduction to $24,000 and emphasize to the court that Mr. Alvarez is indigent, notwithstanding the allegations as laid out in the warrant. Nothing further. Thank you.
All right. What says Ms. Anjani?
Your Honor, Mr. Alvarez is an APD repeat offender, which means he is on a list because APD officers have become so familiar with him during the course of his numerous arrests. Bond, as previously set, is fair and reasonable. $75,000 is a reasonable amount, considering that he was charged with aggravated assault with intent to rob, armed robbery, and possession of a firearm during the commission of certain felonies. That's all. Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's see, Ms. Holmes, this bond order was on November the 22nd, 2021 that I'm referring to, and let's see. Trying to see if there's a bond in the Judge Leffridge case. It's indicted.
There are bonds, Your Honor.
75,000.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Want to make sure there was nothing that was holding. All right. So looking at that, Ms. Holmes, that bond order on 11/22/2021, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 1266 Campbellton Road Southwest. I'll stick with you. Must enroll in the Georgia Works program and must abide by the rules and regulations of that program. You got an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew except for work, medical appointments, court appearances, and meetings with his attorney. And whatever, and it says defendant will be transported directly to the program by the Fulton County Sheriff's Department, directly to that Georgia Works program. You have to supply an address where you'll be living within 24 hours of finding out where you'll be living. Let's see, no further contact with Xavier Mills, Mills. Count 1, 4,000, count 2, 15,000, count 3, 40,000. 4, 15, 4,000, 15,000, and 40,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right.
Honor.
All right, we
That
got.
concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, sir, Mr. Cho. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
All right, I got Shivas Smith. All right, that's position 18, pretrial. 22 CP 211362. Shivas L. Smith, 98 days with no indictment on 8/11/2022. There is a $12,000 split bond. Some of it went through pretrial, which I think that was probably per judge. I guess pretrial let me know. Failure to exercise due care, reckless driving, hit and run, duty of a driver to stop or return to scene of an accident, fleeing and attempting to elude a police officer, opening door into traffic, pedestrian and roadway, expired or no license on person, and willful obstruction. Pre-trial.
Judge, it probably is. Does he even live here? 9 prior arrests in Florida, conviction, 2015 scheme to defraud, 2021 conviction for controlled substance. Nothing further.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just covering for Ms. Sampson.
Okay.
Mr. Schmidt is originally from Florida, but he's here visiting his significant other in Georgia. He is a high school graduate. He was working on a food truck prior to his incarceration. He does have some mental health issues, and so I think we might have a social worker on that, Your Honor. Currently his bond is set at 12K split. We're asking for it to be 5K split. Thank you.
All right, what says the state? Ms. Porter?
Yes, Your Honor. This bond is fair and reasonable and should not be disturbed, considering the defendant's current criminal history as recent as last year with a controlled substance conviction and the nature of the charges before the court. It's the state's recommendation that this bond should not be disturbed.
Where's he gonna be living? Because he has a Florida address, Ms. Sarfarazi.
So we have 2 addresses. It looks like he has an Atlanta address, and then we also have an Orlando address.
Sir, you gonna be living in Atlanta? Thumbs up or thumbs down? All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 691 Northside Drive Northwest. No further contact with Emily Claire, Claire, and last name Holmes, Holmes. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical. All right, no driving until you have a valid license, insurance, and registration. So, Bostic, were those supposed to be the ones you're supposed to, were those supposed to go through pretrial?
What charges went through pretrial?
Failure to exercise due care, opening door in traffic, pedestrian roadways, expired license.
Those misdemeanors, Judge?
Yeah.
Not the felony charge? I would say not, and especially since he's not a resident. And now that they're going back to in-person reporting.
He says he's gonna live in Atlanta. Are you for sure gonna live in Atlanta, sir? Because if not, and you stay on pretrial, you don't report in person, they'll revoke your bond. You understand? Thumbs up, thumbs up. All right. All right, here's what I'll do then. You got all those conditions. So Ms. Holmes, the ones that are UJR through pretrial, you can leave them there. Count 2, 1,000, count 3, 4,000, count 4, 4,000, count 8, 1,000. Got that, Ms. Holmes?
Yes, Judge.
That best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Daryl Neal. All right. Position 23, pre-trial 22 CP 211169. Daryl Neal. 106 days on indictment. There is a $6,000 good bond as of August the 3rd. Willful obstruction, felony, and theft by shopping misdemeanor. Trial.
In regards to Mr. Neal, 15 prior arrests, 3 arrests for probation violations, 2 FTAs, 2016 and 19. History of misdemeanor convictions, given false name, theft by shoplifting, simple battery, family violence, drug-related objects, theft by shoplifting. Has an open case in DeKalb for theft by receiving stolen property. Nothing further.
Go ahead, Ms. Cole.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Neal is 27 years old. He does have a stable address. That address is the address provided on his account. He lives there with his mom and his dad. I have called his mom. I spoke to her actually today again and confirmed that he could live there and that that would be his place of residence. He's born and raised in Atlanta. He's completed through the 11th grade. When he was arrested, he had just started working at Spondivitz on Virginia Avenue, and he believes he's going to be able to get that job back when he's released. Your Honor heard no felony convictions. It's all misdemeanor charges prior to today. I believe the last offense, other than the open case, is from 2020, and it's a traffic offense. He's not currently on any probation or parole. Your Honor, the failure to appears, from my understanding, were from when he was not residing at his parents' home, but his mail was sent there. I have confirmed with him that he does plan to go back there and that he will be residing there, and his family is wanting him back home. We did previously submit an application to Bail Project, but his bond was too high for them to consider. We're requesting a signature bond that will allow pretrial to follow him. He cannot afford any bond at this time, and his family is on disability and cannot afford any bond either. He understands that there will be conditions to that bond, and reporting would be required. But if the court is inclined to grant a signature bond, these are, I believe the total amount on the theft by shoplifting was less than $55. It was like 53 something. And the willful obstruction, Your Honor, was basically, the warrant states that he swung and then pulled away. But it says he swung and missed and then pulled away. So I'm not sure exactly what happened. My client says he didn't swing and believes that body cam will exonerate or reduce that charge in the future, but he will be in court to appear. Your Honor, that's our request today. If your court is not inclined to grant a signature bond, which is our hope, we would ask that it be below the 5,000 so that we can reapply for Bail Project. I don't know if they'll reopen the case, which is why we're asking for a signature.
What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor, $6,000 bond is a reasonable bond considering the defendant has 3 probation violations, 2 failures to appear from 2016, 2019, 2 theft, shoplifting convictions, and an open theft related matter in DeKalb County. This is a fair and a reasonable bond. The state would ask for the conditions that were previously applied for the stay away at the incident location, all family dollars, and any other conditions that you deem appropriate.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 1723 Lakewood Avenue, Southeast in Atlanta, and all family dollar stores. No further contact with Officer N as in Nancy Copeland, unless it's in his official duties. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, work, as long as you supply the name of your employer, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. I take felony obstruction of a police officer very seriously. 4,500 on count 1, 500 on count 2. 4,500 count 1, 500 on count 2. Sir, you better be living there because that's the address you're going to put on there. Ankle monitor paid for by the county. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Patrick Dwyer. That's 24. 22 CP 211-526. Uh-oh, I forgot to do my math here. Hold on a second. Got a $5,000 good bond as of August 17th, 92 days in jail, financial transaction card theft, and financial transaction card fraud. Trial.
Judge, 15 prior arrests, no felony convictions, 3 misdemeanors, disorderly conduct, criminal trespass last year, criminal trespass this year. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Cole.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Dwyer is 27 years old and he's lived in Georgia his entire life, mostly in the Atlanta and Alpharetta area. He's been in the Alpharetta area most recently. Your Honor, you heard very minor history, no violent charges, no felonies whatsoever. This also is a non-violent charge, and his first felony charges, Your Honor, the warrants state that he found the wallet, picked it up, and tried to put a purchase on it of at a grocery store to buy food, Your Honor. The charges did not go through. The complaining witness was not without any of his money. And so the charges are based solely on the premise that he had possession of the cards and did attempt to buy food for himself. Your Honor, my client cannot afford this bond and cannot afford any bond. We are asking for a reduction in the bond. He does have a stable phone number and email address where he can be contacted and is willing to.
Where's he going to live?
Your Honor, we don't have residents confirmed at this time. He does have family in the area, but they have reported that he does not live there. And so we are looking into things, and I've spoken to my client, but he does not have an address where he wants to stay.
All right. What says the state?
Your Honor, $5,000 is a fair and reasonable bond. the state is aware of the defendant's lack of criminal history, 2021, 2022 criminal trespass convictions. The state is concerned that the defendant does not have stable housing, so there's some concern that he may have some risk of returning to court when required, or have received notifications and when he is required to return to court. Therefore, the $5,000 bond is appropriate and should not be disturbed.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. You have to supply an address where you'll be leaving upon bonding out. You have to supply it to the jail clerk's office and to your attorney who will apply it to the state. No further contact with Robert, last name Grivan. Stay away from all Wells Fargo's. Stay away from 980 Birmingham Road and 15840 Birmingham Highway. I'm concerned that you don't have an address. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical. And if you get a job, you can go for your employer. You got to say where you're working, the location you'll be working, and a schedule has to be given to the ankle monitor company and to your lawyer. They'll give it to the state, so you won't be reported as violating it. $1,500 on count one, $1,500 on count two. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. You can leave the booth. You can leave the booth. There you go. All right. Is that it for you, Ms. Cole?
Yes, Your Honor, that concludes my business, if I can be excused.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's Mr. Cazzoli. They're taking home. James Reynolds. Mr. Reynolds is position 5. 22 CP 210841. James Reynolds, 118 days out of indictment, entering auto with intent to commit a theft or a felony and theft by taking. No bond as of July 21st. Trial.
Judge, in regards to Mr. Reynolds, 18 prior arrests total, took a first offender on a burglary in 2016, 2017. Conviction, fleeing and eluding tools, entering auto, 3 counts, theft by receiving firearm by a first offender firearm during 2016, entering auto, 4 arrests for probation violations, 2 FTAs, 2017 and 19. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cazzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Reynolds is 25 years old. He had a birthday while incarcerated here. His address is correct on the pretrial report. He lives with his brother there and has lived there for the last 20 years. He is a lifelong Atlanta resident. He has 2 children, ages 5 years old and looks like around 9 months at this point. He's a high school graduate. He attended Carver Early College in 2015 as well. My apologies, that was his high school. He graduated from Carver Early College, the high school, in 2015. He worked at Unified Warehouse doing forklifting. He still has that job available to him upon release. Your Honor, I understand he does have some history. He is currently held at no bond. He's held to no bond right now, but is now statutorily entitled to a bond. We're asking for a bond not to exceed $10,000.
All right, what says the state? Oh, is he gonna live in Forest Park?
I'm sorry, give me one moment, Your Honor. I can confirm that real quick.
Is it Forest Park, sir? Thumbs up? Thumbs up. Okay, gotcha. All right, what says the state? Sanjati.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant has 18 arrest cycles since November of 2014. So in the last 8 years, he's averaging more than 2 arrests per year. His criminal history showed multiple failures to appear and violations of probation, which indicates that he is not a great candidate for alternatives to custodial intervention. Given all of these factors, Your Honor, the defendant presents a significant likelihood of reoffending, and he does present a risk of failure to appear as well, and danger to the property in the community. For that reason, we would ask for a bond that's commensurate with his criminal history. The state would request that the court grant a bond no lower than $10,000 for the offense of entering auto, and a bond no lower than $5,000 for the charge of theft by taking. Thank you.
Right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Brandon, last name Mazariegos. No further contact. Oh my gosh, I can't read my handwriting at the name of the tree service. Whoops. No further contact with the tree service company that the property belongs to. Stay out of Fulton County, sir, unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Don't even come to Fulton County and get gas. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county, 24-hour curfew except for court, lawyer, medical, work, but your work can't be in Fulton County. You need to get the name of your employer, the location, and your schedule to your attorney and to the ankle monitoring company. 4,000 on count one, 3,000 on count two. Best of luck to you, sir. You can lead the booth. Position 6, Reginald Blunt. 21 CP 203901, Reginald Blunt, 391 days without indictment. There is a $5,000 good bond on theft by receiving stolen property felony, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, and theft by receiving stolen property. Wow.
Judge, in regards to Mr. Blunt, 34 prior arrests, convictions, 16 cocaine, drug related objects, 02 burglar, 03 purchase, possession, manufacturing, 03 another purchase, manufacturing, 04 financial, 06 robbery, 07 coke and pimping, 08 theft by receiving, 09 firearm by and felony obstruction, 2015 cocaine, 2 FTAs, 03 and 2015, 4 arrests for probation violation. Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Cazzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you mentioned, he has been in jail now for over a year, 391 days of incarceration. Your Honor, he is 45 years old. He has a good address at 1615 Sandtown Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30311, where he lives with his sister. He has lived at that same address his entire life. He is a high school graduate. Based on the fact, Your Honor, that he has been in jail since June with the bond set as it is at $5,000, he cannot afford that. He was unemployed before his arrest and has not been able to make any income, obviously, since his arrest. He has no money for bond. We are asking for his bond to be reduced down to UJR through the jail on the firearm charge, Your Honor, if the court is so inclined and able, and UJR through pretrial on the other 2 charges, the 2 theft charges. Again, Your Honor, I understand that the court is very reluctant, and I certainly understand the reasoning of not wanting to give a UJR for a possession of a firearm, Your Honor, but he has been in jail for over a year. At this point, he had his preliminary hearing in June, Your Honor, and the court has still not indicted this case. And he has not been heard on bond since June. So you're just asking for as low of a departure as you can possibly go, but he cannot afford anything if there is any amount given.
Mr. Cazzoli, he gave a Forsyth address to pretrial. Sir, are you going to be living in Forsyth, Georgia? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah,
he's going to be living in Forsyth, Georgia. Got you. What says the state?
Your Honor, Mr. Blount is one of the APD repeat offenders. Given his criminal history, bond as previously set is fair and reasonable. In addition, in light of the charges alleged here, specifically the firearm charge. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I'm not going to give a UJR for a gun. Count 1 and count 3 are already who did that? Judge Wolf did that at UJR jail. I'm going to do possession of firearm by a convicted felon. I'll reduce it to $3,000. No drugs unless prescribed. No alcohol. No weapons. Stay away from 455 North Avenue. No further contact with YENESH, last name BEKELE, and Blake Browning, BROWING. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. You can leave for court, lawyer, medical. If you can get a job, you can go get a job, and you got to tell where you're working, the name of your employer, and a schedule, the physical location you'll be working. No further contact with your co-defendant, Cassius, CASSIUS Williams. Stay out of Fulton County, sir, unless you're for court or to see your lawyer. Don't even get gas in Fulton County. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Leave the booth. Leave the booth. There you go. All right, Robert Wilhite. That's position 12. 22 CP 211177. 104 days, no indictment. As of August 4th, there is no bond. On possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, possession of Schedule 1 or 2 with intent to distribute, possession of firearm or knife during the commission of a felony, and possession of controlled substance Schedule 1 or 2 with intent to distribute. Wow.
Judge, he has a total of 14 prior arrests. He has open cases. 22 SC 183323 RICO, CWAC charge, firing by convicted felon. CWAC charge assigned to Judge Cox. 21 SC 177640 CWAC, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, 2 counts, pandering, assigned to Judge Cox. 3 arrests for probation violation. Nothing further.
I don't think there's a bond on those, are there, Mr. Cozzoli?
No, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cozzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Will Hyde is 38 years old. He has a good address at 5675 Roswell Road, apartment 18A, Atlanta, Georgia, 30342. He's lived in Georgia for the last 10 years. He has substantial ties to the community. His sister, his brother, his cousins, his aunts and uncles, they all live in Georgia as well. He also has 3 children. He is a high school graduate. He attended some college, including vocational school for HVAC and business. And he owns a music production company, music studio. Your Honor, we're asking for a bond on these charges. He is past the statutory day. He is now he's now entitled to a bond. We're asking for a bond not to exceed $5,000 good on this, on $5,000 to $10,000 good on these matters, Your Honor. Again, with the understanding that even if that bond is paid, he will still be restricted by his current no bond status for his indicted cases.
What that means, sir, is you're not getting out. Go ahead, Ms. Winfrey.
Good evening, Your Honor. We understand that the defendant is entitled to a bond because of the statutory time frame. I would like to lay a foundation for why the state would request in this case why Mr. Will Hyde should receive nothing short of $10,000 straight bond on the possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, $10,000 on the possession of a controlled substance in Schedule 1 or 2 with intent to distribute, $15,000 on the possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of a felony, and $10,000 on the possession of a controlled substance in Schedule 1 or 2 with intent to distribute. Mr. Will Hyde has a bond history of, or a history of violating bond conditions consistently. When this case was first indicted, he's got the pending case, which is 22 SC 183323. He was actually picked up on grand jury warrants based off of the offenses that occurred at his residence at 5675 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs. He is currently charged with trafficking a person for sexual servitude, pimping and pandering, and similar charges. As when he was arrested on this particular case, he was arrested with 4 other young women. They are co-defendants in this case. And he has, again, violated his bond conditions several times. So we were asking the court to give nothing less than a $45,000 bond in this case to the defendant because he's entitled to that, that he's to stay away actually from 5675 Roswell Road in Atlanta. That's where there were allegations that he was distributing or had a prostitution ring there and a narcotics distribution out of that particular apartment. So we'd ask that he stay away from there, that he has no contact with any of the co-defendants in the case, and any other special conditions that the court would order.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 5675 Roswell Road, apartment 18A. So you're going to have to supply an address within 24 hours of where you're going to be living. You understand you're in no bond status of the other cases. You're not getting out anyway. In the event they give you bond, you're going to income under paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. You can leave for court, lawyer, or medical only. No further contact with your co-defendants. Destiny Francis. Tara Miller. I got Tonette, Tonette. Is that, let's see, White.
Yes,
and I got Christina Allen -AMMI. No further contact with any of those co-defendants. Let's see, I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, the income will be paid for by the county. 10,000, 10,000, 15, 10. 10,000 on possession of cocaine, 10,000 on controlled substance, 15 on the possession of firearm, and 10 on the possession of controlled substance. Best of luck to you, sir. You can lay the boots.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, did you say no weapons? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
That concludes my business with the court. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Good to see you, Ms. Winfrey.
Same
All
here,
right.
thank you.
I got Ms. Pinto's case. That's position 21. Micah Harris. Micah Harris. Wave your hand if you're Micah Harris. All right, let's see. Jordan Butler. That must have been him. Anthony Bailey. All right. Ms. Collins. Is position 8, pretrial 22 CP 210801. Anthony Bernard Bailey, 119 days, no bond as of July 20th. Possession, purchase, manufacture, distribution, sale of marijuana, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, trafficking cocaine, possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, VGCSA, possession of Schedule 1 or 2 with intent to distribute ×2, possession of Schedule 4, possession of MDMA, possession of firearm during the commission of a felony, and drugs not in an original container. Trial.
Judge, in regards to Bailey, 38 prior arrests, open case, 19 SC 172-866, theft by shoplifting and obstruction, and then 22 SC 182-297, firearm by a convicted felon. At least 6 felony convictions. 5 of those are being drugs before the 90s, battery and the cruelty in first in 01, 3 FTAs, 11, 16, and 22. 4 misdemeanor convictions and 3 arrests for probation violation. Nothing further.
All right, I got him living on Camp Creek Parkway, Ms. Collins. Go ahead.
I have a different address. I'll update it as I go.
Is it all right? Is it Fulton County?
Yes, it is. It's in Atlanta, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, Mr. Bailey, he has been in for over 90 days, so he is entitled to a bond at this point because his case is unindicted. Your Honor, he's 51 years old. He has his GED. He has 8 children. 3 of them are minors. The other 5 are adults. He provides financially for his 3 children. Before arrested, he was working doing brick masonry. He has lived in Georgia his entire life. His address is 1895 Plaza Lane, apartment 328 in Atlanta, Georgia, 30311. Your Honor, we are asking if you would consider setting a bond on this case. I understand that this is not an evidentiary hearing, but Your Honor, I would note for the purposes of bond that this is a co-defendant case. There has been a prelim, probable cause has been found. However, it was noted at prelim that Mr. Bailey was the passenger in this car. The reason that officers even got involved is because an anonymous caller called in a tip regarding the driver and co-defendant as the person that was allegedly committing transactions. There was no reports of anyone seeing Mr. Bailey conduct any transactions. He just simply, unfortunately, happened to get into the car, the passenger side vehicle of this individual. He is not charged with any of the fleeing charges like his co-defendant. Him being a driver, he's pretty much at the mercy of that person. When officers did approach him on foot, he was detained without incident. The substances, all of them were found in a single backpack that had an iPad that allegedly belonged to the co-defendant in it, Your Honor. The firearm was found in the vehicle in which that vehicle, the keys were found on the co-defendant. The firearm was found in between the center console and driver's seat. So it was closest to the co-defendant, Your Honor. I say this to say that I understand that they are both charged, but it's clear who is the more culpable person in this case, Your Honor. And so we would ask if you would consider setting a reasonable bond on this case, Your Honor. For count 1, we'd ask if you'd consider a $1,000 bond, count 2, $5,000, count 3, $15,000, count 4, $1,000, count 5, $1,000, count 6, $1,000, count 7, UJR, as it appears the co-defendant received a UJR on that charge as well. Count 8, 1,000, count 9, 5,000. In the final count, a UJR as the co-defendant received a UJR on that charge as well. And that will bring my total bond recommendation, Your Honor, to 30,000.
Ms. Amjadi.
Let's see, Your Honor, the defendant has 36 arrest cycles since 1988. His very first conviction in the criminal history was 1989 for possession with intent to distribute. He has multiple DUI arrests, at least 3 cycles, and at least 2 convictions that I saw in his criminal history. Just by looking at random, I saw 2 FTA cycles, several VOPs. The defendant presents a significant risk of reoffending. I have concerns that he may not appear to court if he is released before his court date. Additionally, he doesn't seem to have a good track record for complying with conditions of non-custodial release. With respect to the bond amounts, I understand that the defendant is statutorily entitled to a bond at this time. I would respectfully request for the charges, the 2 firearm charges and the trafficking charge, that the court grant a bond no lower than $50,000. And with respect to the other felony drug charges, a bond no lower than $20,000. And I have no objection to a UJR with respect to the misdemeanor charge.
All right.
Your Honor, I would just add that, as you heard, most of that history is old, back in the 90s. I believe the last FTA was not prosecuted due to that being a misunderstanding. It's my understanding from speaking with Mr. Bailey that he was in court, which resulted in that FTA not being prosecuted. So I don't think that he has any recent FTAs. And when I say recent, I mean probably within the last 5 years. I understand there's a 2019 case, but I believe that case hasn't been resolved yet. And it's from 2019, so he hasn't been arrested since then, it appears.
All right, count 1, 5,000, count 2, 15,000, count 3, the trafficking, 50,000, count 4, 5,000, count 5, 5,000, count 6, 5,000, the possession of the aspirin, UJR, MDMA, 5,000, possession of a firearm knife during the commission of a felony, 5,000, and the last count, UJR, 5,000, 15, 50, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, UJR, 5,000, 15, and UJR.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Yeah, that Ms. Holmes, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 2261 Cascade Road Southwest or any BP gas stations. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county. You can leave for court, lawyer, or medical. No further contact with your co-defendant, Gary Goodwin. Anything else?
I'm sorry. Could I get the breakdown again?
Just give it to you one last time. Write it down. 5, 15, 50, 5, 5, 5, UJR, 5, 15, and UJR. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Somebody get Jordan Butler. All right, Jordan Butler. I don't know where Mr. Harris is, but position forward, 22 CP 210839. Jordan Butler, 119 days. I got aggravated assault against a police officer, burglary in the first degree, possession of firearm during the commission of a felony. 119 days, no bond as of July 21st. Trial.
As in regards to Mr. Butler, 7 prior arrests, no felonies, 1 misdemeanors, 3 FTA, 16, 16, and 21.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cazzoli.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Butler is 24 years old. He has a good address at 4040 Trapes Court, Ellenwood, Georgia, 30294, where he lives with his fiance and his 3-year-old daughter. I know his fiance was present on the Zoom call. I think she may be watching over YouTube now in support. He, as mentioned, Your Honor, he does have strong ties. His fiance, his daughter, he also has a 5-year-old son and a grandmother who is on dialysis. Before his arrest, Mr. Butler was her primary transportation to and from. He had been working for a dog sitting company for the last 2 years. He has his GED. Your Honor, I believe, did Madam Pretrial say there were no felonies in his history?
Pretrial? Austin. Wow.
Either way, Your
Yes.
Honor, I'll have the state correct me if I was incorrect on that. I know we're having our preliminary hearing is scheduled for tomorrow, Your Honor. Where if I understand that you have perhaps briefly read the warrants, Your Honor, where we believe that the aggravated assault charge will not stand. Considering that, Your Honor, we're asking for a bond not to exceed $25,000 good on all charges.
All right. Ms. Amjadi.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant was previously in no bond status because the court found him to present a significant danger to the community. As the court is well aware from having reviewed the warrants, one of the allegations here is that police officers were responding to a burglary in progress, and the defendant and his co-defendant shot at the police officers. Given that, Your Honor, the state would respectfully request that if the court is inclined to grant a bond, which we do understand Mr. Butler is statutorily entitled to at this point, for the burglary charge, that bond be no lower than $25,000. With respect to the possession of a firearm during commission of a felony charge, we would request that that be no lower than $25,000. And lastly, with respect to the aggravated assault against a peace officer.
How much?
The state would respectfully request, Your Honor, understanding that the defendant is legally entitled to a bond, although we do not consent to any amount. We would respectfully request that if the court set one in its discretion, that it be no lower than $100,000.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Stay away from 3095 Sable Run Road. No further contact with Corporal Braun, Braun, unless it's at during execution of his duties. Let's see. Ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical. No further contact with your co-defendant, Billy Parson, Parson. 100,000 on aggravated assault against a peace officer, 20 on the burglary, and 15 on the possession of firearm by a convicted felon. Best of luck to you, sir. You can lead the booths.
May I be excused?
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Ma'am. So all I got is Micah Harris. And I don't see him in there.
Sorry, may I be
Your Honor, they're
excused?
having a problem on the
Ms.
floor.
Collins.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yes, Ms. Collins. All right. You want to reset this?
I can reset him for and add him on to another calendar, Judge.
All right. We'll reset it then.
Okay.
Is that it?
I believe so, Your Honor.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. See y'all Thursday.
Have a
Thank you
good one,
very
Your
much,
Honor.
Your Honor. Have a great day.
All right. Y'all too.